Great strategy to address depression is to be grateful for small things. Well, at first anyway, that are positive. For me, it was getting fed in hospital, having other patients to talk to, getting good mental health care, having a safe place to stay, and dare I say, having the right meds to take as well. Just recognising those things helped my sanity, coupled with persevering with mindfulness even when it didn't seem to have any positive effect. My strategy reminded me of the happiness experiment, which essentially is a movement to recall 3 good things each day, your 3 GTSs. Tamara Waugh, who was challenged by her friend Kate Billing some years ago, started posting her 3 GTs in early February 2012. And within a month was bombarded with Facebook friends following her lead and tagging her in their first day. It became apparent to her that there needed to be a platform for all to share their 3 good things. So just over a month later, the Happiness Experiment, 3 Good Things page was born on Facebook. I guess that was, we've got Tamara in the studio, sort of somewhat unexpectedly. I'd sort of planned this show that we would just talk about it between Declan and I, but we've have the privilege of Tamara being in the studio. So was that a momentous day to launch this Happiness Experiment in New Zealand?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a wonderful experiment and a wonderful experience to do 3 good things. The first time I started doing it, I did it for nearly 3 years. So I think, to start the page was momentous because it meant that a lot of other people could be positively impacted by the practice.
Yeah. So had you been doing 3 good things 3 years before you launched this?
No, I'd only been doing it about 2 weeks. I was in a not so great space myself. And as you said, Kate challenged me to 3 good things and also 13 minutes of meditation every day.
Wow.
And I'd never meditated in my life, and I considered myself to be quite a upbeat, happy person, but it felt like that was an external thing at the time, and I wanted it to feel internal.
Right.
And so the practice of 3 good things started, and I posted it on Facebook to keep myself accountable because consistency was not one of my great attributes at the time. That did really keep me accountable. People would kind of message me at night and say, hey, yo, these are 3 good things. I'm kind of waiting for them.
Yeah.
So, it was making other people kind of happy and making them think about their own lives as well. That just started, a number of people started saying, I'm going to do this too, I'm going to do this too, what a great approach to life. And then after probably the first couple of weeks, some people would come up to me and say, hey, I'm doing this with my family at home at the dinner table, and other people would say they've been doing it with their teams at work. And so I kind of felt like it was something that could be widespread, and it didn't have to kind of just be this thing for people that were in not such a great space. But
well, I did it at the dining table in the hospital the other day.
That's fantastic.
And the first thing it achieved was that people started talking, because there wasn't a lot of talk going on around the dinner table, I guess because some people were really absorbed by their illnesses, not necessarily mental health illnesses.
Yeah.
But it did just start to encourage a little bit of thinking, and I think positive thinking.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it does for families as well. When you start talking about 3 good things that have happened in your day with your kids, it really brings about so much more conversation about what's going on for them, and you get a lot more of an insight, and you can start really seeing what is happening for them.
Yeah. So this friend of yours, Kate Billing, where did she get the idea of a happiness experiment?
She, I think, was inspired, I'm pretty sure she was inspired by Sean Aker, who did a TED Talk called Happiness at Work. And he, in that TED Talk, he talks about 3 good things and the practice of writing down 3 good things.
Right.
Yeah. So she did it herself for a few months before I started as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And what sort of impact did both you and Kate experience?
For me, I can speak personally. Within a very short amount of time, it was probably about 2 weeks, I just realised my whole perspective on the world just changed. It was stepping out into the world a lot more positive, and I felt like every good thing that I was giving out was coming back to me threefold, and I started to really notice a lot more things going on around me. I started to notice a lot more about how other people were feeling. I started to notice a lot more about myself. I noticed my behaviour, my actions. It gave me a lot of insight into who I was and how I was behaving, and just noticing more good things throughout my day turned into an interactive mindfulness practice, which meant that I was actually feeling that joy in the moment, right, and being more present, which is really joyous.
And which is what joyous mindfulness is all about, isn't it? Being in the present.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been trying to do that. Boy, have I been trying to do that over the last 6 to 8 weeks, and it's a real challenge. My little mantra has changed a little bit to just be present and be at peace.
Yeah.
So I've added the concept of peace as a belief that I guess I've taken on since being in hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in a very short time, you had thousands of followers.
Yeah, probably within the first year we had I think it was like a good solid 2,500. We've got nearly 5 now, and that's global. So it did kind of ripple out further than just good old little New Zealand.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of personal research around mindfulness and neuroscience and psychology and positive psychology and meditation and what those benefits are, because I was seriously overwhelmed by how much of an impact it was having on me, and a consistent impact, right, and still does today. You know, if I'm kind of heading in a space where my head's a little bit overwhelmed, or I'm feeling like I'm not feeling good, and I can start to see my words to other people aren't aligned with my values, and I jump back to 3 good things or a gratitude practice to help me kind of shift back into that space.
I mean, you indicated earlier in the interview that you had gone through a bit of a bad stage yourself. I don't know whether you want to elaborate on that, or prefer just to say that it was a bad space and your friend was helping you.
I won't go into it too much, but I would say that I had struggled for a very long time, probably since I was a child, actually. And I had been on medication for quite a long time as well, and I felt that wasn't working for me. And I really wanted to try other avenues to be able to support myself, and to also give me the opportunity to really feel my way with raising my daughter and really experiencing those rich joys and those rich sadness parts as well, and not fall off the boat. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
it's had an influence in your style of being a mother and a parent?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah. I recently did an interview for a podcast with a child psychologist in the UK, and that was I think she called it intuitive parenting, and I thought that was a really great name for how I parent. I do have a very close relationship with Millie, and yeah, I mean she's been doing this gratitude practice, or she started doing it at 3. You know, there's been moments where we haven't, and she's started meditating at 5 every night, and that's been a really big part of our journey together, and for her, growing compassion for people and things in the universe as well.
So that's one of the wonderful, rich outcomes, I suppose, is being compassionate for others, caring for others. And these are all really linked, aren't they, to being mindful, being in the present, I guess, being more peaceful and calmer and that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think the big thing about mindfulness for me is that observing and not judging thoughts part of it. That's the big part. That was, I hear you when you say it's been hard to do the mindfulness and to work out how it actually works. And at the start it is really hard, and it is really struggle bubble stuff. But yeah, keep practicing. It becomes really, really insightful and really beneficial.
It's just that staying in the present, Tamara. That's the big challenge, you know. And I think when the depression distorts one's thinking, you naturally sort of go to the negative thought. You know, like I played bridge for the first time in about this year, in fact. So it's almost 2.5 months. Played last night, and it was a big deal to go and join this group of maybe 20 people. Trust that I had still remembered all the different theories about bridge and how to play the game. My hands were shaking quite noticeably from the medication, which one or two people noticed. But I did it, and I did it, I think, by sort of staying in the present before going there and not thinking too much about some of the negative things that could happen.
Yeah. That's it, and it's practicing that in every moment that you're in.
Right.
You're with Take It From Us on 104.6 Planet FM.
So today we're talking to Tamara Waugh, who is the founder and leader, if you like, of this happiness experiment, this idea of identifying 3 good things. And Tamara was talking about how her daughter has adopted this, even at the age of 3 and 5. And what age is she now?
She's 9 now.
She's 9 now. She's still practicing 3 GTs.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We do it around the dinner table, or we do it just before meditation at bedtime.
Right. So you do a sort of a combined meditation at bedtime?
Yeah, we do it. We do the app Buddhify is the one that we use mostly, and that is all mindfulness meditation. So it's all about kind of fading out your senses, or there's a one that's about thanks, and the gratitude one, of course, is about kind of thinking about what you had for breakfast and how that might have got to you through, the grains being
of benefit?
Yeah.
Of benefit to your energy levels and that sort of thing?
Yeah, but also how that breakfast was packaged by people, and how it might have been flown over here, and how the chickens laid the eggs, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's about being grateful for receiving it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger story to that one thing. I mean, you might say, well, I was grateful for my poached eggs this morning, but you've got the backstory in that you're bringing in the idea of the chickens. And is this just for your daughter, or do you do that yourself?
I guess. When you get good at gratitude, you get good at gratitude.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that is one of the apps that we use, and that's called Thanks, and it's in that app that it talks about the gratitude and going back, to one step further for that gratitude. So, I guess when you're talking about gratitude, it's good to kind of reflect on more than just the selfishness of that, what you're receiving. So somebody gave me this today, and that was good. Well, it's actually good to reflect a little bit further and that person and why they gave you that gift, or where that gift might have come from.
and what you might have done for them in order to have received that gift.
Yeah.
Well, tell us sort of how do we do this thing of 3 good things?
Yeah, sure. So in the evening, preferably, take a minute to reflect back on your day. Looking at all the things is great, and then find 3 good things out of that have happened, and write them down. And I would say it would be really great to reflect on something that's external, something that's internal, and something about somebody else that you really appreciate. And you're covering all bases.
Yeah, that thing that's internal, might that be, what would that be if it was an internal?
Oh, well, I can give you an example, actually. The other day, Millie said to me before she went to sleep, she said, Mum, can I tell you something I'm really proud of today? And that thing was that she participated in every classroom conversation. She put her hand up for every question, and she said that she might not have really known what the answer was for sure, and sometimes she didn't get picked, but she really enjoyed it. So that is an internal thing where you're actually putting yourself forward to participate in life. So things like that, that you're really proud of yourself for achieving, or something that you noticed in yourself that you did that, you know.
Well, I mean, really, that's quite courageous to do that, isn't it, in a class of probably 30 or 40 children?
Yeah, I reckon.
I mean, you're participating, you're getting involved. It's all about, if you're sitting back there, you're not really engaged.
Yeah.
It's so important for us to be engaged in things, isn't it? But it does take courage to do that.
It does, and that's something that she has struggled with. She's been such a shy wee girl, and we've done all sorts of things to kind of bring out her confidence or make her feel more confident. So that was a real achievement for her to actually look back on her day and go, hey, guess what, Mum, I participated in everything today. I put my hand up. I put myself out there. So,
well, imagine the pride that she is feeling in telling Mum about that. I mean, I can see there's so much benefit coming from that. But that word courage has got quite a significance for me, without going back to my experience too much. But the psychologist at the hospital gave me a whole lot of little cards with values on them, like self-esteem and self-determination. But one of them was courage.
Yeah.
And I hadn't returned to work at that point. I think it was probably a Friday, and I hadn't really given any thought to returning to work. And I just put that little sticker with courage on it at the top of the pile of all those values. And I looked at it quite often. And I thought, well, you know, Sheldon, you need to have the courage to leave hospital and to go back to work and do the radio show the next day. And I think, you know...
It's a big thing.
Well, it was a big thing, but that, I guess, that value, you know, and coming back to your 3 good things, I mean, if we have one of those things is something courageous that we've done...
Yeah.
Then it's really...
That could be cool.
Yeah, it can be cool, I think.
Well, there's so many different things that you can do with 3 good things. You can make themes for 3 good things. You can you say, this week my 3 good things are going to be about courage and what I did. You could say that one of the 3 good things is going to be about courage. You can do so many different things with it. It's really fun.
Is it important to write them down?
I think so. There's a number of different ways that you can do it. I developed an app and I launched an app last year, so that would be, I would say, texting it. Right. And then there's that element of courage to share it, which a lot of people don't want to do, which is perfectly acceptable because it is quite a personal thing. But I think there's something about writing things down. It's something about, it's quite cathartic to come from the mind and then onto a piece of paper.
I think I find for me just putting something down onto paper empties that out of my head so that you can focus on other things.
Almost like giving it to the piece of paper.
Yeah, and also then you're not going to forget to do it later.
But some of as a result of being a member of the Happiness Experiment Facebook page, I mean, it's fascinating some of the wonderful things that people are grateful for, and I've got one here, just smelling the Queen of the Night on my balcony after a stressful end to my evening. Another who says, it's funny how individualised tea is. I like mine with the water poured slowly right on the tea bag instead of being left in as long. I think you can get stronger tea without it being quite so tanniny. Another one here saying, I'm grateful for the taste of cheese, especially blue, and camembert, and vintage Leyden. So these are wonderful. As one, the food I'm grateful for today is cake. It melts in my mouth, stirs up some grateful moans of delight and brings people together to celebrate all sorts of achievements and worthy causes.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's lovely, isn't it?
Do you know what I do when I go to bed at night? Just, final preparation is, particularly in summer, I like to just spray a bit of fragrance on like I'm going out, and it just freshens you up.
Yeah.
And then I sort of off to bed and I feel like I'm refreshed again.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
$1 million before bed.
Well, yeah, it makes
Sounds good.
Yeah, and it makes you feel good, and it brings your mood up and that sort of thing. And you go
then
off to
that
bed.
will make you sleep better.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one here where somebody says that she's very grateful that hubby has handed us the holiday money. So that was rather nice.
That's a good one.
Yeah, and another one, grateful for my friend who's currently in ICU recovering from major heart surgery. Yeah. I love her so much. Special soul. And there's others that are very grateful for their bed. If I'm not sleeping, things can get dark. So having a good night's rest is so important for me to get through the day with enthusiasm, love and light.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Can I chuck something else in there that I found really handy is Warehouse Stationery's got a product out and it's called Ignite. And it's just a little spiral boundy thing with 52 different little pictures and sayings on it. And you're supposed to turn it over, each week. I just flick it over randomly and put it by my diary, and it might be something like, dare to be different, or, something like that.
Positive affirmation.
And it's got and just little things to keep you on track, You start to feel a bit down.
So these 3 good things, do you regard them as positive affirmations?
Not really, no. I think they're different to positive affirmations. I think it's more about being really grateful for the things that you have in your life.